Okay, you once actually told me like when I discovered this stepdad energy. No, divorced
dad energy.
Okay, so this is how I discovered it. I took time away from Ness. He was like 6 months old. We went to Soul Cycle.
Sure.
Right, and I was like, I felt like I was gonna die.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, but what do you like? How do I part from my baby? Like we were one, and you were like, oh girl,
yeah, no,
this is, you don't get it. So she tells me about how if you just like step away more often, actually you can swoop right in with something called divorced dad energy. And if you could please elaborate on that, I would really appreciate it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a two-way street because it's good and bad. I feel like my divorced dad energy, where I just felt like naturally I kind of have divorced dad energy. And I feel like it's very clear what that means. Like, not the kind of like good divorced dads of like now, but like the 90s divorced dad who like is like, oh, eat all the candy. Did you brush your teeth? I don't care. Like that's my like ingrained parenting technique. That's what I would.
Good style.
But I have to like fight against it all the time because it's not great for the kids. But that's just kind of where I come from. I'm like, yeah, let's play on the floor. Okay, I'm sick of you. I'm gonna go do something. But then they're like, well, no, you have to watch us. We're your children. So it was kind of a way of like explaining how I feel as a parent, where I'm like, I know all these moms are like, oh, I'm so exhausted. I do too much, or I do the snacks, and I would always show up to the park and be like, oh, I guess should I buy her a hot dog? And the moms would be like, please no, here are some organic gummy bears or whatever. And I was like, okay. And I just felt like everyone knew all this stuff. And I was like always this kind of like divorced dad who's like, scheduling? I don't know. And I didn't understand why everyone always like knew it all the time. And why I was always like, just kind of fly by the seat of my pants, like.
But maybe Poppy was also easy. Like she would be okay with like waiting a little bit and like with a hot dog. Like I would be so afraid, right? Like I would be so afraid because Ness would just like freak out, and I would be like, no, I'm gonna preempt the freak out. Like here's the dried edamame. Maybe that'll like.
I was like literally stopped several times on the playground when she was little, and people would be like, oh, I can tell she's not your first. And I would be like, what?
No,
she very much is. Like, something that I was putting out, some sort of parenting that, not that I'm trying to do, just that's like how I am. I never understood it. And I was like, what am I doing that's so much different than like the typecast?
It's better.
I don't know that it's better. I just think it's what it is for me. And I'm like, I can't be the only mom that's not just like instantly a super mom.
Oh, I think you are actually instantly a super. To me, as a hover mom, like a helicopter mom, a too intense mom, I really have to like rein myself in like at every turn. And when you told me that, I read it in a totally different way. I thought you were like, funny. Oh, you need to like outsource so that you're not strung out, so that you can be fun, so that you can be loving,
yes,
so that you can be happy and fit and like well adjusted and productive, like. That's what I read. I thought it was a totally different thing.
Well, that's what I mean. It's a combo of both. I think that it's both. It has its good points and it's bad. And I think one of the ways I like harnessed it in was being like, okay, I can't like just play with you and then walk away. If I want to do that, I have to outsource it and have someone
feed you
there, have someone who's like more organized than I am, which is very lucky to be able to do. But even in like small increments, to be able to like work out or have a moment where you're doing something with a friend, I think is so important for your mind that then you're such a better mom. So just sticking with them all the time and having them cling to you and scream and cry isn't good for them. It's not good for you.
No.
And it makes you better.
It does make you better, and it makes them better. I think like I heard someone say recently, like the more love your child can experience from different channels, the more able to receive love.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, it's better for them, and it's better for you. I mean, it's totally better. I mean, I needed to take a Soul Cycle class. Like, I also needed to have, like, another parent be like, oh, it looks like you've taken on too much. That's what I heard in that moment.
We had different discussions with that, too. You were taking on too much.
I think I still do.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Maybe not. I mean,
how old are they?
They're 2 and 4.5.
I mean, cut the cord.
Cut the cord.
They can grow up by themselves. You're
They're
done.
Fine.
They're fine.
You're still in it. You're still in it. They're vertical.
Yeah.
They're verbal. It's over.
How old is Poppy?
My oldest daughter is 8, and then I have a 1.5-year-old boy. And let me tell you, night and day. He's a little bit more where I do have to plan snacks because he's like a lunatic. But even then, I'm still not. That's just not intrinsically what I'm great at. It's like I have to remember them, and then I go back for them, or I just end up buying something at the store. Like, I'm just not organized in that way.
Neither am I. And I think, like, owning that is probably, the more I own that, the happier I am. Like, I was, like, packing for Florida, and I was like, oh, I can, like, pack them snacks beforehand, or I can, like, pack activities, or I can make sure that the iPad is charged.
Yes, yeah.
And, like, buy something in the airport.
Yeah,
like, I could do
that.
Pinterest momming with anxiety and, like, a tinge of, like, or I could just, like, be myself.
Yeah. And I think,
which is a divorced dad.
Yeah. And I will say, like, the way I talk to Poppy or the conversations we've had, I have friends who are like, you guys are so fun. Like, she seems so relaxed and chill, but I've never had that, like, mommy's doing this now or that. I'm like, yeah, that cat was weird that just walked by. You know, like, we just talk normally. And I feel like if I tried to be some, like, perfect different person, she wouldn't really know me in the same way. And she's such a funny sense of humor. Like, it's kind of nice. But
it's so nice to hear you be like, your kid needs to know you. Like, that's what intimacy is.
Yeah.
It's not like reading a book and then applying all the tips. It's actually just like, I wanted Ness to be like fluent in Hebrew because I was raised speaking Hebrew. And I thought, oh, that's really beautiful, right? Like, that's a really nice thing. Like, to see the world is not one way or whatever.
Yeah.
But, like, at some point, first of all, like, enough with the overachieving. It's really not helpful. But secondly, like, it's not my mother tongue. Like, it's not actually the way I speak. It's not who I am in my day-to-day. And, like, this is a person in my care. Like, he should feel like I'm all there. So I never actually spoke to him in Hebrew. I think that is, like, really the way you speak to your kid is, like, the way you have a relationship with them. Okay, we need to talk about...
Well, this is actually a huge concern.
Oh, a concern.
Of the Mom Curious group. Also very much a concern of my own.
Oh, talk to me.
Just like what you're saying, like, how do you talk to children? And, like, so I'm an only child.
Okay.
And now my friends are having kids.
Okay.
And, like, I literally just spent the day at, like, a children's museum. And, like, it really is. It's because I just want to talk to her like she's a small adult, but she's a year and a half old. And it's like, you know, it's this weird balance. But, like, how do you figure out how to talk to a kid? Is it just yours so you're more comfortable?
No.
Oh, I talk to all kids like that. But, I mean, I'm not inappropriate with them. I'm not like, have you seen the new Sex and the City reboot? But
have you? Is it good?
I've seen it. It's watchable. You know, I watch any of that stuff. But I don't know. I don't like to critique, but it's, you know, it's something to watch while you're stuffing Christmas cards.
Okay. Yeah. Right, noted.
Or holiday cards.
Got it.
But I've always talked to Poppy just like she's a person because she is a person. And I don't know. I'm not good at that fake, like, this is an orange. I mean, I'll still tell her this is an orange, but there's no need to be weird about it.
But your relationship with Poppy is different than your relationship with your son, right?
Yes.
Is it because of their gender, or is it because of their
age? Right now, Poppy was my only. Freddie, I don't know what that will be like. He's definitely, like, wild and physical and fun, but I don't know that I'm, like, he loves cars. He's like, car. And, like...
Oh, I know something, guys. I think I know why. Okay. Someone once told me that, like, if you sat a 3-year-old girl down and a 3-year-old boy down and, like, had them draw something, they would simulate something like, a girl would simulate, like, they would try to paint a still life with, like, more, like, pastel hues because their eyes could see the nuance. Their actual eyes
wow.
I know, but you're going to have to check with your husband, who's like, a very smart doctor, to make sure this is true.
Is this an antidote or a clinical trial?
Right, I'm not exactly sure. But someone did tell me this, but that, like, it's actually a matter of the way the chromosomal difference, right? Like the X and Y chromosomes express themselves in the way we see the world. So for a girl, they will see like still life and different like shades of color. And for boys, they see big sweeping movements like cars or primary colors.
Wow.
One day we should like sit down and like do this experiment, a clinical, because I'm a clinician.
Well, we're going to start a clinical trial?
Yeah.
That sounds low key.
Yeah. But that's what I heard, that like actually that their eyes are different, and so obviously their brains form differently.
Yeah, I've never heard that. That's amazing.
Yeah. But back to Freddie.
But just the point of that was, he's like, car. I was like, yeah, bud, we're on the street. You're gonna see a lot of these cars, and like that's just how I talk to him, because that's how I don't know what else to say in that situation. Like, should we count the cars? One, I guess I could do that too. Maybe that's better, but that's why people are like, oh, I can tell they're not your first.
I like that.
I don't know.
I think like talk right. Wouldn't that be so much more
comforting to me? Yeah,
it's comforting to you, right?
Yes.
Because
like to know that there are people out there that are doing it in a way that is like authentic, like and
just the idea that like you're going to live with these people for the rest of your life, like for you want to like be comfortable with them, comfortable to be yourself, comfortable that you want them to be comfortable, right? It's like when you're putting something on, it feels bad. It doesn't feel bad in like regular.
It also has to be exhausting.
I think so.
You're raising children. You've got a lot going on. Like to put on a whole facade for this person seems exhausting to me. So
yeah, I would say the only like fake thing I've done with them is I've heard that it's okay to like, and actually Josh and I don't really argue that much, but like if we get into something, I've read that like it's okay to argue in front of your kids, but what you have to do is you have to make up in front of them. Because usually you don't. You'll like be like, oh, we were supposed to do this, blah, blah, blah. And then like, in the bedroom or like later behind closed doors, it's like, I'm sorry, I was grumpy today. That was annoying. They're saying you should make up in front of your kids. So if we do that, we'll have to be like, okay, we have to go do this in front of Poppy. And then he comes in and he's like,
yeah.
He's always the one who's sorry. I'm just kidding. He's like, I'm sorry. So that's the only like play acting I think I really put up with. And I don't know. I'm sure she sees through that too. She's probably like, why are you being weird?
She seems pretty well adjusted.
Yeah, she's great.
I think. Yeah.
I mean, she's 8. I don't know. We'll see. We can ask her future therapist.
You've been a mom for 8 years.
Mm-hmm. It's wild.
It's a long time.
It's a long time, yeah.
I mean, it's like not like a long time to be alive, but it's a long time to be like a totally new role.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's gone in a flash. It's weird.
Okay, you were telling me how I thought for sure you would only have one child.
Yes, most people did.
Like she would say it all the time, like we hit the jackpot.
Yeah.
Look at her. She's perfect.
She is.
She is perfect. Why would we what? And then what happened?
So I got very defensive. People were always like, don't you want her to have a sibling? Don't you like your own sibling? And I was like, yeah, I love my sister. And they would get so aggressive about it. And I would be like, look at Natalie Portman. She's an only child. She crushed it. She crushed life. Like we had this, every time we go on vacation, she would be at an age where like we could go skiing with her. And I'm like, to go back to diapers. First of all, when she was little and people were having like, you had them close together.
Yeah.
I wasn't like divorced dads aren't capable of doing that.
Mentally.
It was too much. I couldn't even fathom it. So by the time we started fathoming it, I just felt like, why mess a good thing up? And I don't know what happened, Daniela. I think she graduated preschool and we were like, oh, like sad. And like kind of were like, okay, we'll try. And I was telling you, and then I got pregnant right away. Was furious. I've never been more upset.
I had a similar reaction when I found out I was pregnant. I can't remember if it was like I think all times I found out I was pregnant, I was like, oh,
yeah,
what have you done to me?
This is insane.
I love my children. Like
no, of course it's not.
And
indicative.
I don't even have to like use that disclaimer, but it was I don't know why.
With Poppy, I was really excited because we were like trying, and I was like, this is fun. With this one, I was like, no. I was like, it's not happening. I saw Friends. You're supposed to wait like so long. I told everyone because I was like, oh,
I remember.
Insane. I can't have coffee. I can't have drinks. Like I want to, like, I hate this. Then I had a miscarriage.
How far in?
Not far, like a week later.
Okay.
And then I was like so devastated. I cried for like a whole weekend. I was so upset. And then I was so shocked that I was upset. And then I was like, I will have a baby. Come hell or high water. It was like insane hormones. I don't know what happened.
I think it is a hormonal thing, but like as we've discussed, this is not a, we don't know for sure.
We don't know.
But I had the same experience where I was like, I had a miscarriage and then I got really like, I don't know if it was like competitive, but it felt like aggressive. I was like, no, I'm going to do it and it's going to stick.
Yeah, I was like, this will happen. I would like cry when I got my period. Like nothing, I'd never been like that before. I've been like, oh, and I didn't even want, remember, I didn't want another baby.
No, we're well aware.
Like, yeah. What's happening?
I don't know.
And then I had the like most beautiful little boy in the world.
In a pandemic.
That was hectic, yeah.
Was it hectic? What ended up happening?
It was fine. It was right after, like, remember, men couldn't come into the hospital. So like a week later, I had Freddie, and my husband was allowed to come in the hospital, but he couldn't come in the waiting room. He could only come. I had a C-section.
Yeah.
For the C-section, and then he had to leave. So then I was in the room by myself, and well, I had a roommate because there were no rooms because of all the COVID stuff. And then because I couldn't turn over with the C-section, I'd have to ring every time the baby was crying. And they had so much to do and so much PPE to like take on, take off. It would take so long for the nurse to be able to like come help me, give me the baby, that I left after like a day. Like I was there for maybe that for like not even 2 full days, I think.
Were they in like hazmat suits?
Kind of.
As much as they could. When's
like the shield? Not like a full hazmat suit.
When was Freddie born? What's his birthday?
April 22nd.
Oh my God.
And
it's like really like 6 weeks after. Like we were still in lockdown.
Oh yeah. And traffic was great. So that was good.
Oh my God,
there was no traffic.
Oh my God, traffic in the city was amazing.
Amazing, yeah.
So you scheduled the C-section. So you knew when he was coming.
Poppy was an emergency C-section. So this one we just scheduled. And it was honestly great.
Really?
Yeah.
So we don't know much about C-sections, or I actually don't know. I was born via C-section, as were my brother and sister. And
that's why you have that nice round head.
I'm perfect, guys.
Perfect.
Fucking perfect.
Perfect.
But the Mom Curious crowd probably could use a rundown if you're open to it.
Yeah, of course.
How does it go? And like, what's the recovery like?
I mean, I only know my version of it, but I had like an emergency C-section with Poppy, meaning like I hadn't dilated much. And then it was really slow, and then they realized she was upside down and like wasn't gonna come, so it was like
sunny side up.
Sunny side up, yeah. Like head down but sunny side up.
So, what I've heard, because I've consumed so many birth stories, it's a very weird thing. I don't exactly know why. I just would
like let people stop and tell you their birth story.
I ask people. I listen to podcasts. I read the books. I'm really curious about this. But apparently, like when their skull is on your back, your spine, like trying to get, it could really hurt.
I had a epidural, so I felt nothing.
Oh, okay. Apparently the epidural doesn't work in that situation.
Oh no.
Yeah, but I guess it did. But it
did for me. It did for me.
Okay,
but
good.
Then, so as I said that, I was a little bit like, okay. I was so afraid of an episiotomy. Like I was like had this weird thing where I didn't want to like tear or be cut. So even though they're like ripping my stomach open, I was a little bit relieved that like it wasn't a choice. I was like, okay, if you have to,
then go for it.
Go for it.
An episiotomy meaning like snipping.
Yes.
Between the vag and the anus.
And they make it bigger.
Oh my God, I forgot
to get
that
the baby out.
Even a thing. See, that's the thing about birth stories is like, as many as I have listened to and read, like I forgot that's even an option.
That's the thing.
That's very upsetting.
But I think it's polarizing. I think some people are like, think it's better to tear, and some people are like, actually, it's better to cut. I don't know. I just all makes me queasy. So I was like, just God no. So then that one, I remember because I had the epidural already, whatever drugs, I'm not even sure what they were doing, but when they give it to you, when he sewed me up, I could like feel something I was so deeply uncomfortable. I was like moaning and like it was gross.
The first time. And the recovery was brutal. Like I was in the hospital for 5 days the first time. Like, and this is also why it's significant that you were only in the hospital for 2 days with Freddie.
Yeah. Because it's very short with a C-section to do that. Like I went home early because I had more help at home than I really was getting care for at the hospital.
Wow.
So like people could come immediately. It wasn't like ringing a bell.
Right.
But yeah, I remember like before I left the hospital with Poppy, Josh had to be able to like take me on a walk around like I had to be able to walk this full loop,
like
and I couldn't do it for like I was laid up for a while. With Freddie, you go in like an hour before because it was scheduled. They give you the drugs. They do it. I felt nothing because they were nice, fresh drugs, and. So
not even like the sewing.
No, felt nothing.
Oh, nothing.
Felt absolutely nothing. Held the baby, the beautiful little baby. His nice little round head.
You guys.
Freddie, I was fine. I was like up, walking around. I could, a couple days of like soreness and lifting, but it felt great. It was wonderful.
I think people like.
For me.
Yeah, right. Some people would, it seems like the difference actually is like when it's an emergency, maybe.
Well, so that was part of it. They're like, your body's gone through the trauma. Even though I was on drugs, I couldn't feel it. I had the trauma of labor, the physical trauma of it. Then with a C-section, it's just a lot to take on. And it's like, I don't know the technical reason for it. But I've heard from I have a couple of friends who had a C-section and then had like, emergence and something not great happened. I have one friend in particular who like had a bad time with it, but everyone else that I know that's had an emergency and then a scheduled, it's like, wasn't it a dream? So good. And so I think for the most part, it's pretty easy.
I think like celebrities, like for a while, and maybe it's not the case anymore, but for a while they would schedule C-sections like a little earlier on so that they could bounce back, and that was like a fad for a little bit.
So smart. My doctor wouldn't let me do it. Like, I don't think they let you do it anymore. They're like, the kid's supposed to grow and healthy, blah, blah, blah.
But as we've discussed, they're fine.
They're fine. I was like 800 pounds. I wanted him out. Like, if they would have been... Oh, Poppy was also 10 days late.
Oh.
Past her due date. So I had to be induced. Oh. There's a lot going on. Freddie, they did... I think it was like a week before my due date. We did the C-section. But they don't go earlier than that. I was like, how about a month? And they're like, no, Kat.
Actually, the answer is no.
No, we don't do that.
Also, in like the middle of a pandemic, they're like, please don't come in.
Please don't come
in. Please leave us alone. We're in the middle of something. But it ended up being that your husband was home for that time, right?
So it ended up being amazing for us. Yeah, he was home. Sure. He was more hands-on with Freddie than Poppy ever. He changed more diapers than me in the first month.
That's amazing.
By far. Yeah, he was great.
Because he wasn't at work, right?
Right.
That's so cool. I want to know about your film, Good Egg. And I also want you to know, by the way, that Kat Dines is the reason why Oma is on Amazon Prime. She's not like the coolest mom.
I'm not the only reason. It's because it's a great movie.
Thank you so much. But you saw the movie and you were like, oh, I can help you like get this out into the world because you have 2 films on Amazon Prime right now. One of them is with Poppy.
One of them's with Poppy, yeah. That one, my first film is Sorry for Your Loss that Amazon picked up. And then we made this other like really short film that kind of just came out of like that divorced dad energy, that feeling where I was like, why am I Hugh Grant in every movie that like has this kid thrust upon him? Because in Kramer versus Kramer, that like classic scene with the ice cream.
No, I need you to tell me about it.
Oh my, what?
I forgot.
All right. There's a scene where Dustin Hoffman's like, the dad, the wife Meryl Streep leaves, and then the kid is like testing him, and he's like, you can't have ice cream, and they get in this huge fight. Is he gonna let him do it? And it kind of like is the breaking point. It's this like classic movie moment where he becomes like a real dad for the first time, and he like says no to the ice cream.
Oh, because he like sets boundaries.
He sets a boundary.
They're so overrated.
I know. But I was like, why am I having this Kramer versus Kramer moment like every couple of months? Like this is like keeps happening. Like it's not, oh, now I'm a real mom. It's like, wait, all of a sudden she's in this new group and I don't know what to do here. So I was like, I'm going to make a movie that I feel like that. So the premise of the movie is my ex-boyfriend comes and drops Poppy off, who I didn't know existed because he used our like the eggs that we froze when we were together because his clock was ticking. So he wanted a kid. So without my knowledge or consent, he made a baby, but now he needs me to watch it for the weekend, which is a ridiculous premise.
But also she looks identical to you.
Right. And
which is like a great twist.
Yeah, which is a great fun thing. So then it's kind of me navigating like what you do with a kid. And it's just kind of like how I felt all the time where it's like, she's like, I want to do this. I'm like, well, I want to do this. What? Like, let's do what I want to do.
It's funny because like from the outside, I look at you and I think like, oh, she's having so much fun as a mom. And I think that is true. And there's an imposter syndrome that like we all sort of have. Like, wait, I'm just like a I'm just like a person. Like, I don't know what, like, I think broccoli's good for you. I don't.
Yeah, I feel like it is. I was so with Poppy, like, reticent to be a mom, like to be that as an identity. I was like, I didn't really make mom friends at first. I was like, who needs it? I have my friends. What are we going to talk about our kids all day? That's annoying.
So annoying.
And it was really interesting to then not know anything and meet people who were actually really cool and interesting and had amazing jobs and lives or not. You know, we're just doing the mom thing, but we're really fun and interesting. And I didn't get any of that like shaming like that you see in the movies where it's like, oh, you're not doing this. Like I have some friends that are like Pinteresty moms and they love to make the lunches like they do, but they're cool about it. They don't care if I do it. They just want to do it for themselves.
Right. You're also very special, and like I feel like everyone's nice and like kind and open to you because like you're very cool and like they want to be your actual friends.
That must be it.
I mean, but or not. I don't know.
I also don't think I'm someone they're competing with. Like if you're competing to be like the perfect mom, like you win. No one's mad at me. It's not like my Christmas cards are like, you know, have the silk ribbon with like the perfect picture, which I have a couple of those, and I'm like, great, I love it. I love to see it. But like, don't worry, mine is Shutterfly.
Your kids seem to have a close bond, no? Like it's,
oh my God,
and it's easier.
Adorable. She's obsessed with him. She's like, he's my baby because I wanted him. So technically, it's like he wouldn't be here. So I'm like his mom. I'm like, okay.
I think you did something really smart, and I mean, I know that you had kids before most of us, right? So that's 8 years ago.
Poppy,
is not even 5.
I was New York young when I had Poppy.
I know, it's
I
hard
was not
to say.
world young.
I get that.
Yeah.
Right. So you had this like long, was 6.5 years difference? Right. And it's turning out to be pretty epic, right?
It's been amazing. Well, I saw someone playing tennis and he was like, oh, you had another one? I'm like, yeah. He's like, oh, you read the book. And I was like, what book? And he was like, 7-Year Splits, the happiest kids, da-da-da. And I was like, I most certainly did not read that book. And you don't know me at all if you're thinking I'm
reading
books. Oh, I read a lot, but not about my children.
You read like fiction.
I read tons of fiction, yeah.
So this is the thing about the divorced dad energy that I thought you were referring to. And I think in this conversation you did talk about it where you were like, no, like sometimes I just like close the door and she's with Jem, her nanny.
Her nanny, yeah.
Who's like part of the family. And I'm like watching TV because I want to watch TV. Or
I've
like
done that, yeah.
read a book.
Yeah.
Because I want to do that. It is bizarre how earth-shattering that information was to me.
Wow.
And to like a lot of people
Yeah.
that like you could just take time for yourself. You're not beholden to this person.
No, it's true.
They're taken care of. They're fine.
It's true. And I will say it's harder with 2 because even though we have a nanny, it's a lot of back and forth. It's a lot of like picking up one from school, taking the other. There's a lot of handoff, so they're still not. But I mean, I'm certainly still, I think it's important to take time to read and to watch your show and to
work
whatever
out.
you want to do. Work out, yeah.
Yeah.
I play ton of tennis.
Good.
I play paddle.
Very nice.
We have some mom curious community questions. The first one is people are dying to know about help, nannies. How do you get them? How do you know if the relationship is working?
I mean, that is really hard. I have to say we're so lucky. My husband's like second cousin, some family member that's arbitrary, like they had Jem for years. They had 4 kids, and then she was looking for a job, and they're like, why don't you interview her? And she was great, and she's like a family member. She's also someone who, like, will go back and do her own thing, but like when we're somewhere and Josh isn't there, we'll watch a movie together. Like we watched all of Bridgerton together this summer, and she's fun and funny and like knows that we're joking around all of the time. She is someone who is regimented. She'll like be like, Kat, you need to clean out this bag today or I'm throwing it away. And I'm like, oh, okay. So like I want someone who, she's a little bit older. She is very organized, like dishes, cooking. She's good at all that stuff. Now I know people that would hate that. They're very like, they want to be in charge. They want to be the one setting the rules for like everything. And they would maybe pick someone who's younger and can like really play with the kids while they're doing X, Y, and Z. I'm like, I want to come in, play with the kids, and know that you're doing like the laundry or something.
Yes.
So it kind of depends on what you want and what your style is.
And how well you know yourself. I think something to your credit is that like you know what you need.
That's true.
And like you did from a very early stage. Like when did Jem like come into your family?
With us when Poppy was like 3 months. I think she interviewed.
I mean, that's more than like that's 8 years. It's been a long time that you had like the attunement to know like I need someone to take care of me and the house. I want to like cuddle with my baby and I want to hand her off to someone I know she's safe with. Like you knew what your non-negotiables were.
Yeah, I did. I remember having that conversation with her. Like, I will come in and I want to be playing when I'm home. I'm in and out. I have auditions or I have work sometimes that I'm doing. But when I'm home, I'll probably more likely want to be doing the fun stuff. Like, I'll take him to the class. And she was like, great. Now, is that always the case? No. Sometimes I come home when they want to play and I'm like, I have a doctor's appointment.
In my bedroom.
Yeah. Is it a massage? Maybe. I don't know. But I don't know. It's like, I think you have to know. I think part of it's luck of getting that. And I know people that have gone through a couple nannies. I think it's okay to also change if it's not working for you. I think people are so afraid of like, this is what I'll be stuck with. And I think, you know, at this point, Jim's like family. We would never fire her. But in the beginning stages, you can move on if it's not working for your family. It's so important.
I love that you're like so like, in the same way that you're like always yourself with your kids, you're always yourself with Jem also.
Yeah, totally. But she has like a bird's eye view. She knows more than anyone. She's like, I can sell all your secrets because she knows how like ridiculous we are. But I also don't know how to not be myself. I think that's
it's delicious.
I don't know how to do that. Like
good,
I don't know how to.
Good. Don't learn.
Yeah,
it's perfect. You look like you have questions.
I have another question, and it's nice because Poppy is a little bit older, so you might have a different perspective than some of the other moms that we've had on. We are curious about schools. Specifically, now I will caveat this with we're based in New York City, and that is the interest. The interest is this is a very here or another competitive city. You know, I know it's not the same if you're out in the suburbs or.
Do you mean private schools?
Private schools in general, getting your kids into and through school in New York City is like a different beast altogether.
Yeah, it is.
Can you speak to that at all?
I can speak to. I don't know. Let me think. Don't do it. Move. No, Poppy went. She got into a very good preschool, which if you're like from the Midwest, which I am, like I don't even know where I went to preschool, and people are like, "Oh, this is like a great preschool. It's a thing."
Did I go to preschool?
You have all the, and you call
school.
The what?
Like, what were we? Did we go to school at 2?
I don't know that I did. I would have to ask my mom. I don't. There definitely wasn't like it wasn't a thing for Poppy to get into this preschool and all the others that we applied to. We had to call the like Monday after summer ends, and you call and you hang up, like you call and it's a busy signal. So I had my mother-in-law calling, I had my mom, like we had people calling to get applications because it's old school. So you like call, it's like a radio show. Once you get the applications, because they only take a certain number of applications every year, then you have to go in and like tour the school with your husband. And it was interesting because my husband's orthopedic surgeon and his schedule is really hectic. And a lot of these people didn't seem to have that problem, and they can go. He's like, this is a full-time job. You have to go to the open houses. You have to go to the interview. You have to go to the Poppy's interview.
For a 2-year-old.
For a 2-year-old.
2. That's only 24 months of life.
Yeah, and then that's just the preschools. But the preschools are feeder schools to then the other schools.
To the prep schools.
So they really helped get us navigate where Poppy's going now, which is like an all-girls school.
It's very special.
It's very sweet, and they have like the uniforms, which is a lifesaver for me.
I know.
And we're still late all the time,
dressed,
but
man.
that's great.
No, but like getting them dressed, like picking out their clothes. It's so
no,
great
it would
that
be
you don't
impossible.
have to deal with that. No, thank God.
It would be impossible for us. We'd have to do some like old school night before. It would be really annoying. But
old school night before.
Yeah.
She's like, do you hear what
yeah.
Like
what my mom used to make
My
us
mom
do.
used to get herself ready the night before, and because I wore a uniform to school, it was never an issue. It was always.
You guys, I have to put out my kids' clothes the night before. I don't.
Oh, you do that just because?
No, I don't do it. Like I have to do it.
Oh.
But like they go to a preschool, they go to like a little Montessori school, and like Dan's really in charge in the mornings, and like if I don't put something out for them to wear, they look homeless.
Yeah. Well, that's.
I mean, sometimes their homeless look.
Sometimes it's cute.
You see on Instagram, like they're starting to it's starting to become their style.
Yeah.
Is this homeless chic?
Yeah.
Situation? But like if I do,
Especially in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
I feel like Upper East Side too. Like I will say that was a thing. Her preschool was not uniformed, and there was a little bit of like you would see like the little perfect outfits, the shiny hair, the bow, and you'd be like, oh, did I brush your hair? But for me, I felt like that was self-induced panic. No one was like looking at me. Like I would be like, I didn't brush your hair. They're like, oh, whatever.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever brushed Paz's hair.
Yeah,
literally ever. And they do go to school in their pajamas. It either like underneath their clothes because it's cold.
Sure.
Smart, right?
Smart.
Good smart thinking. Thank you. Or just outright.
Yeah, that's fine.
Unless they've peed in it.
Yeah, then not ideal.
Not okay.
Don't do that.
Please stop doing that. Okay, so
but school, I have no like tips because it's only just don't be super. Like, there's people that try so hard and they'll like hire people. The schools don't like that. The schools don't like it if you. Right now they're doing Zoom calls, and I've heard from Inside Tracks where several people were like hired like professional videographers to make this video of their kids that you send in.
You hired Yuri, no, to do the essay?
Well, she like helped touch it up. No, okay. She was like, yeah. So we have a friend who, she does that. The essays are different, but even then they can't be like too polished. And she and I talked about that. So I kind of like sent her my essay, and she was like, great, do this, this, and this. Or like, what if you reframed this? Because I had no idea. But
she's a great resource.
She's a great resource. You should have her on. She would know more about the private school stuff in a certain way.
Have Yuri on. Yuri, I think, has decided not to have kids, and I actually do think that's an amazing perspective that like needs to be like, guys, this is not a necessity. Like maybe overall biologically, like for the species, yes, but not for you as a person.
And we're so overpopulated that we're fine.
We're fine, guys.
We're fine on people.
We don't need any more people. Stop. Everything's fine.
Everything's fine.
But Yuri did say, like, she was saying that if you can afford it, like private school, they really do have great offerings. I think we might be doing public school actually. So we'll see how that goes. And good news, I can always pivot away.
Yeah.
Change my mind. Something that I didn't realize, like when you were saying about like nannies, like I thought Ness had such attachments to these babysitters, which he might have.
Yeah.
But I felt so attached to them. And when they would leave, because I did do the like younger actress route, I would be devastated, like so devastated. And I thought like this was his best friend. And like, he's fine. Yeah. He's fine. They're fine. Like if he tried kindergarten in public school and we decided to like, try private school the next year, he'd be fine. I'd have to do some grunt work. I'd have to get the essay in and...
Yeah, and you'd have to like make the new friends with the parents and like put the energy in for all that. But it's not, people change their minds all the time. It's not a big deal. We put so much emphasis on like everything being perfect. You forget. I know people that have switched within the private schools and they're like, oh, yeah, she's not vibing with these girls and this, because it's so much about who's in your class. And for preschool, I have so many amazing mom friends from our preschool class. They're amazing women who are like cool and smart and knowledgeable, and they basically like taught me, they like raised me as a mom too.
That's real.
It was so lucky though, because I've heard other classes it's not just at school. There's some years are great, some are not. So people will have a class where maybe there's like some early onset partying or something that's not comfortable, and they're like, oh, we're gonna send her to this school.
Right.
I've heard interesting things about the older they get, the bigger
the issues, right? We're like in a sweet spot now where we're like talking about peeing in your pajamas. Yeah. Like that's...
And not because they're drunk.
Oh, no! The idea!
I know.
It will happen. It's got to happen. It's developmentally appropriate at some point, I'm sure.
I don't think so. I've never peed myself drunk. Have you? Let's talk about this.
I mean, I think... I used to pee in my pants a lot, actually, from laughing. Up until I was like I remember in ninth grade.
Yeah, that's
laughing with my friends so hard that I was just like, I'm peeing.
That's hilarious.
It's out.
Yeah, that's a normal thing.
That's normal. It didn't feel normal, guys. It's normal.
Yeah, I remember watching Jerry Seinfeld in a bright neon pink beanbag chair, and I was just laughing so hard I like just peed my pants.
I did not feel normal about. Oh my god, I feel so much better. You saved me like hours of therapy.
No, I mean, go to therapy. It's fabulous.
I mean, it's so good. It's so good. I have a doctor's appointment. I do therapy now on Skype.
I have therapy on Skype as well. I don't love it as much though because I never feel fully safe that like
or fully seen.
Yeah, I know. I actually would. I'm like, can we just do on the phone? Because when I do Skype, I just look at myself. Do you look at the other person?
No. You know what? Today I had
today
I had a Zoom interview and I didn't. They hid my face.
Oh.
I was looking for myself.
Yeah.
I felt very disoriented actually because I'm used to checking in with myself, like giving an angle, like really.
That's what everyone does. So when I'm in therapy, I think they want to see your reaction to things or like look for, but that's not all I'm doing is just like looking at myself talk and it's distracting. And then I also, because I have like Jim in the house or people, like I never fully like go that deep. I don't know. There's not really that much going on right now either.
Something you might want to invest in is a soundproof studio.
Oh, great. Yeah. I'm going to do that.
It's just a cool $10K.
And take that, Upper East Side moms.
It's just a good pod for therapy at this point.
Yeah.
So.
Do you have that in your house?
I have that in my house because, I do voiceovers. Like, that's
I know
my
that.
job.
I didn't realize you had one in your house, though.
I'll just come to your house. It's so weird. I mean, I'm going to put it in the playroom because, like, we're not in, like, the throes of, like, a, pandemic where, like, my kids weren't anywhere. But, like, the nicest room in the house was basically just filled with toys and, like, climbing structures and blah, blah, blah. And, like, at this point, I can move the studio. Like, I can make it my office. I can make it mine, guys.
Yeah.
Because, like, they have enough.
They have enough.
They have enough.
How do you deal with that transition about, like, you have this little soul comes into your life and then takes over, explodes all of their toys and things all over your existence? Feels like a lot.
Actually, yeah, Kat, can you tell us about how beautifully you designed your homes? Like,
thank you.
I saw it with such care.
Yes, I love that. I love home design. I had a big issue when we had our second one because Poppy was old enough when we did our apartment and there was no childproofing anywhere in sight. And he's such a little beast that I've tried to do some sense, but there's like a couple, I don't know. I feel like family members think I'm so mean because I don't want to just like vomit toys. I'm like, they can have toys in their rooms. Why does it need to be in my living room? Like, he goes to classes, he goes here. Like, we're lucky, like, when we're in our house, we have a basement that does, like, kid stuff now.
Oh.
But even then, I, like, don't want it to just be, like...
a playroom?
Junk. Like, it can be stuff that, like, functions well if they use it. If Poppy doesn't use stuff for a certain amount of time, I put it in a back area. If she doesn't ask for it, I get rid of it. I donate it. Like, I don't want a bunch of stuff that she never uses.
You guys, this woman is chock full of goodness. Also, we both have the same...
Mama.
But aesthetic is like, it's important actually, and like to be for your home to for some people. I like kids things. I'm like into kids things. I mean, I'm into less now, also because Paz doesn't love toys. Like it's not like there are different children like different things. Ness would like just like bust through puzzle after puzzle and I would just buy more and more and more, and it was like a little bit of a high for me also to like buy stuff. I have like bags and bags of Montessori toys to give away at this point, but I think it takes a second, and like it is a matter of like knowing yourself. You don't need to fill your home with shit. You really don't.
You don't. And I was at a house yesterday with Poppy picking her up, and like they had tons of stuff, and it was like really sweet and homey. Like it really fit the vibe of the home too.
Yeah.
So it depends. I can love different aesthetics in different places, and for me, I need to like things to be somewhat calming. Like I don't like a lot of bright colors. I don't like a lot of stuff and knickknacks. Like it makes me feel a little bit stressed. I actually was looking around today, and I was like, we need to there's boxes and Christmas junk and gingerbread, like unopened things everywhere. And I was like, I think this is why I've been like feeling jumpy. Like I want to come home and just feel like calm and peaceful. So it depends on what you like. If you like a bunch of stuff and it makes you feel warm and cozy.
The way you designed Poppy's room, and I don't know how Freddie's room looks because we've been living like in bunkers for a year and a half.
He's in a very small room.
Oh, is he? He's a very small person. He's fine.
Yeah. It was Poppy's original room before we did the whole thing. But
I love what you did with her
room's
space.
so cute. But she's already getting. So I did this beautiful room with these bunk beds. It kind of looks like a house on top, and then there's this whole book area.
It was custom?
Yes, that was.
It's beautiful.
Meanwhile, the sheets are perfect. The rugs, like, so cute. She's been begging for a redo.
Oh.
It's like too babyish now.
Oh.
She's 8 years old, so we like agreed. I moved. She has this little round table with these little round, cute, like all like vintagey like chairs.
I remember. It's like
That's
really
gone
beautiful.
now.
Oh.
She has like a proper desk, height size, so she can do her homework. It's a cute desk. Like we look at things together. All the linens she wants new, like it's pink. She doesn't want pink anymore. She wants like a cool teenage vibe. It's heartbreaking.
So do you like repurpose that stuff and give it to Freddie, or do you like?
It's so pink. I mean, not that boys can't have pink. It's a perfect time because, well, the table's been worn out. The chairs I'll save. The linens have started to like. It's been, I don't know, 4 years. So the linen of like the bedspread's actually breaking, and like my nanny's been like, you need to buy her new whatever. So it's actually timely. Like it's had its course, but it's heartbreaking for me because I loved it, and I was like, you don't like it anymore. You have your own thoughts.
It was so beautiful. She's always had her own thoughts.
She always, and
she
she has
just
good
liked
style
your
too.
thought on it before.
I know.
She has good style. I know. Did you see her in that really cute, like preppy?
Coats. The coats.
Oh, the coats.
The coats. She picked out all those coats.
They're great.
She we made a coupon book for my birthday. Or she made one for me, and one of them is like freestyle advice because I'm always like, Poppy, which shoe? And I do what she says. Not to be like Katie Holmes with Surrey Cruise. Remember when she was like, she picks out all my outfits. She has such great style, and I was like, she's 8, but now I'm doing it too. But like, I wouldn't let her just blindly pick out an outfit, but I'll be like, which one of these 2 things that I've pre-approved?
Well, she does have good style, and I think like back to your point, Laura, you don't have to have like kid stuff everywhere, but like what you did, Kat, where you like delighted in kids stuff in a kid's space.
Yes.
Is really fun, actually. It's like the fun of being the fun mom.
Yeah. Well, and then also I think because, and again, like if you don't care about it, it's a whole different story. But because I really care about it, and she would see me spend time and do things and like this, or she would like something, and early on she'd be like, "Do you like that?" And I'd be like, "No, I think that's tacky." And it's just probably not great. But and then now she'll say that she's like, "I don't know, this one's tacky, but this one's cute," or like
she's 8.
She's like trying to, and she'll even say with Freddie, you know how you nest?
Yeah.
I got all my nesting vibes out by watching HGTV, like homemade. I didn't need to clean anything. I was just happy to watch it. And Poppy and I would watch, and she's like, I really like pre-war, but then with like contemporary inside. Or she's like, I like an open floor plan. And I'm like, all right, tell me more. And we go to like take walks by houses, and she would be like, I like that one, but like I hope it's modern inside. I'm like, all right.
This is the vibe.
Yeah.
Of like really being yourself, and then your kid gets to like just be your buddy.
Yeah. I think so.
I think so.
It's working for us. I don't know. We'll see. The second one could be totally different.
He's just
but that's all I
very
have.
attractive. The child.
The only options.
That's all I can tell you. He does beat up on other children.
He does. He's a bully. He
But
pushes them down.
it's only because
like
he's just got
happily.
so much life in him. I know.
He's like,
He's
why
like,
wouldn't
look
you
what
want
I
to
can do.
touch
Poof.
Yeah, he's not. And he this summer like would try to run like with arms wide like into the ocean, like just to let it take him away. Like he cannot swim. People would laugh. They'd see me like I would get so many steps just running, and he would look behind and see if I was watching and pretend to play in the sand, and then he would dive for the ocean. And I'm like, are you Sylvia Plath? What is this death wish? But he would do it so happily. He's like, ha, it's so fun.
So sweet.
Yeah, but he's crazy.
Okay, so I think we're rounding out the hour. I think I got a 5.
You did. Yeah, great.
How awesome is Laura Lucetti?
So fun.
I know. Thank you.
You're
so
awesome.
much. Yeah, you're awesome, Kat. Where can we find you? What's next for you? What's like going on in your in your life?
Well, I'm
beyond
pregnant. I'm just kidding.
What?
Just kidding. Never again. I don't know. It's a good question. I'm writing some things. I'm trying to get some things sold and made and done, and kind of seeing where that will go.
I actually had the thought that like maybe we should collaborate on something, but I'm not sure what it is. And I would love so much to do a film with my kids, right? Like she really had this amazing insight you said earlier, you're like, well, it's like what art comes from grappling. You know?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I think, of course you could like choose to just make a film and put your kids in it, but I think it comes from like a situation you're trying to figure out. Like that I was trying to figure out, like, why do I feel like this bachelor
like Adam
when
Sandler.
I should be a mom?
Do you remember that Adam Sandler film?
Good Daddy.
It's called Good Daddy?
Mm-hmm. Right.
That's what that really reminded me.
Oh, that's so funny. I don't know that I ever saw that one.
Big Daddy? Let me see.
It's very good, and it does remind me of Good Egg, but yours is better because I just feel like you do like hone in on this like boyish quality in you.
Yeah.
It's the best.
I know. I don't know why I have that, but I think you definitely have some art with your kids somewhere in there.
Somewhere or not. Actually, maybe
it is annoying to work with children.
It is annoying to work with children. Yeah. It's like why, you know, the people like actors write on their resumes like works well with children and animals.
Yeah.
Because they're not great to work with.
Yeah.
All right, so maybe
and Poppy's great, but like
this?
it was, you know, you have to have a lot of patience to rewrite and do stuff. Or like there's one, she says the F word in there, which wasn't in the script, but she was copying it. So like she kept saying it on this swing. So like the director was like, I was like, are you filming this? And she was like, can I? And I was like, I don't know if we'll use it, but like we're going to film it. Meanwhile, all of her friends have seen this film now. And I've told them, I'm like, it's not for kids. But they're like, we don't care. But it's very funny. I'm like, oops. Good thing she already got into school.
It's a very joyous 6 minutes. If anyone has the time, it's definitely worth the watch for sure.
Thank you. Yeah, so that's on Amazon. Sorry for Your Loss is on Amazon Prime. I'm Kat Dines at
Yeah, you are.
Instagram.
Yeah, you are. Are you still modeling these days?
No, I haven't. My last modeling job was Pregnant with Poppy. We were on the cover of like some pregnancy magazine.
I love that.
And then Ford was sold, and I was out anyway.
I also loved you Pregnant with Poppy with Michael Dreyer in.
Oh my God!
Short,
yeah,
you
that
wrote
was
that
really
short,
funny.
right?
Yeah. That was like a sketch.
It was very.
Oh yeah,
good.
actually.
Can we point?
Wait,
our friends
give us
in that
your
direction?
lunch money productions. Give us your lunchmoneyproductions.com, and that has all our sketches. That has our movie links. Of course, it doesn't have Good Egg on there yet, I don't think, but yeah, it has all our sketches.
Thanks for listening to the Mom Curious podcast. I've been your host, Daniela Rabbani. Special thanks to executive producer Laura Lucetti. For more episodes, make sure to follow Mom Curious, available on all podcast platforms.